As a developer, half of my job is copy and paste things from the web to my application. And very often I have to paste things that I have copied weeks ago and I want to use it again, but I can't find it. One thing I can try is to press Windows V and search for things here on my clipboard, but it's kind of hard to find things because I can't search and it's limited, if I'm not wrong, to 20 clipboards. So it's not very helpful in some cases. An alternative that we have for that is Ditto, which is an application that you can install on Windows. And in my case, I have the shortcut Alt-Jar-P that will open it, and I can move this around, I can resize it, I can search for things. I can also stick it to the top. If I press Ctrl space, you can see here always on top, so I can click here again and it will always be on the top. And I can paste multiple things at once, so I can select all of these, press enter, it will paste everything. I can also make one clipboard sticky to the top, so if I right click on it, clip order, make top sticky clip, it will always be here. So although if I have this text and I press Ctrl C to copy and Ctrl V to paste it again, if I go to Ditto, I'll see that it's still here on the first position. This is useful. For instance, here I'm copying and pasting things, but now I want to paste only the first sticky clipboard that I have. So I have a shortcut for this. It's Alt-Jar-J, and it always pastes the first clipboard. So it's going to be this sticky one here, but I can always press this text here, which was the one that I previously copied. So let's take a step back and see how we can install it. So first thing, you can search on Google for Ditto clip. You'll see the first results. It will be the result that you want. We have the repository for it, which points to the source forge. We have a bunch of things here on the wiki. It's very good wiki that we have everything that you can use on Ditto, and you can also install it from the Windows App Store. After installing it, if I'm not wrong, the default shortcut is Ctrl tilde. To open it, I remapped this to Alt-Jar-P because I think it's easier to press because my hand stands on the home row and I can just move my thumbs a little bit and then press P here, so it will open. It's easier for me. Let me remove this sticky order. First thing that you want to do when you install Ditto is to go here on the three dots and go to options. We have a lot of configurations that you can do here. The number of saved copies, yes, the default is 5,000. I change it to 50,000. I don't expire things after 5 days, but you can if you have sensitive data that you're copying. You can also exclude applications here like code.exe if you don't want Ditto to store things from here, because it saves on a database path and this is not encrypted. So if you're copying sensitive data from a certain application and don't want to save into Ditto, you can also exclude it here. You can see here it also supports many types. By the way, it also supports images. So for instance, if I want to save an image, let me take a screenshot here. And now if I go to Ditto, you see that I have this clipboard here. I can also search for clipboards. Usually it starts with this CF underscore. You can expand this to see if this is what you really want. So it's very useful. We have as well other supported types here. We have the shortcuts. So here I changed my activate Ditto to Ctrl-P, which in my case it's Alt-Jar-P. Due to my keyboard configuration. You can also text only paste with Ctrl-Shift-V, which is, I guess it's the default on Windows. If you want to paste something without formattation, usually you copy things with hyperlinks and so on. You don't want to paste it with hyperlinks, you want only the text. It's the same for Ditto. You just press Ctrl-Shift-V instead of Ctrl-V and it will paste it. If it's something that it's here and you're scrolling down and you want to paste this one only with text, instead of pressing enter, you can press shift enter and it will be text only. In this case, it was already text only, but you get the idea. Those are the shortcuts that I told you about. It's called the global hotkeys. If I want to paste the first position without having to open Ditto, I will just press Ctrl-J. In my case is Alt-Jar. Always understand Ctrl-Alt in my case to Alt-Jar. And K and L, because those are the three keys on my home row of my right hand. So I can just press Alt-J, Alt-Key, and Alt-L. It also has the idea of copy buffers. I don't really use this much, but you can. I'm not gonna go through this. You have the wiki there, but again, this is a very advanced feature. Here we have other quick and paste keyboard shortcuts that you want to change, maybe. So in this case, for instance, I have those configurations changed. I'm going to show you in a second, and also the configuration to view and create groups. So what are groups? Let's say that you have here, for instance, I have some environment variables that I use often, and I want to group them. So when I search for things, I only want to search among them. So I can select all of them, selecting with holding shift, and then I can right click groups and create a group from selection, and I'm gonna save this as envars. Now I have this envars up here, and if you press this folder, you see that we have this group called envars. And I can go back to my default no group selection here, but I can also search only for inside envars group, and I can search here for date, and it will only show things from here. It's useful when you have a lot of settings that you don't want to lose, so you can group them together. I have a shortcut for that. So for instance, if I want to save those sequels here, I can just select them and press Alt-N, and this will create a new group for me. In this case, I'll call it sequel, and then I have everything under my sequel groups here. I don't recommend creating groups for everything, only for things that make sense. So for instance, for Git commands that I have here, it's just easier to search for Git. We have a pattern that all Git commands starts with Git. Same for grep commands, you can just search for grep. Usually I create groups for things that are related, but it's hard to search for things because the text may not match, and you may forget what text to search for. So SQL commands, they are not easy to find. You may have some interesting calls here that are not easy to find with text. Another cool thing, if you take a look here on the left, it's very small, but you see some numbers here. If you press Ctrl 1 after opening Ditto, it will paste this first clipboard. If you press Ctrl 2, paste this one, and so on. Another feature that you have on search is that you can search for regular expression commands. So for instance, if I want to search for something that ends with or has txt, I can just use regular expression in this case, and it will search for it. So you can see here I have file.txt, file.txt, log.txt. So you can search for regular expressions as well. Again, to change the shortcuts regarding those numbers here, quick paste keyboard, and then search for the space position. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can assign to whatever you want just by changing it here and then clicking on assign. You can also have combination of key strokes like Control key and then Control something. You can enable second key presses here. Ditto has a lot of options. Also for friends, you can share clipboards to other people. I don't use it, but if you are interested on that, I really recommend going here on the wiki. You see everything there is to know about Ditto here.